headphones.
Okay. You have to tell me what sparked this.
What sparked this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to practice this conversational method called street epistemology, which I learned from in a book about 6 years ago. And then about 3.5 years ago, I started practicing it out in public and created a YouTube channel, and it's been a lot of fun.
What was the book that sparked it?
A manual for creating atheists, although I would convert that title to like a manual for creating critical thinkers. That's the goal, and like a byproduct that the publishers wanted to point out was that it would be most likely be an turn to an atheist because of that. But it's really about critical thinking, skepticism, being open to changing your mind, epistemic values like that. And I also just want to, I could be wrong about whatever. And I like to, now we want to keep the topics open to really anything people want to talk about besides religion. So it could be politics or, science, philosophy, social justice, anything anybody wants to talk about.
Wow. Has anyone changed your view of any specific thing on a topic?
Yeah, my views have
Drastically?
maybe not drastically, but a little bit. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And do you hike up here with all of your equipment?
I have that little cart, and I pull my car up, and it takes a little bit of effort to get up, but it's not too bad.
What's been your favorite topic so far these past 3 years?
My favorite topic.
Or most challenging one to even talk about, I guess.
I've done a lot of religion and spirituality, and I want to now shift, ideally, to topics related to social justice. Those are really interesting to me now because those seem to be the most contentious topics that people just fail continuously to have good conversations about. So anything along those lines are my favorite right now.
I saw the posted with the question, is racism, what does it say verbatim? I don't remember. But it says something about...
Has racial progress improved in the past 50 years or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
Has it improved or has it surfaced more or something like that? That's very interesting.
Want to talk about that?
Sure. So I'm originally from Chicago, which is a very, very segregated city.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when you talk about racial progress, I think you have to talk about technology too, because I think social media plays such a big role in how we consume information nowadays.
Yeah.
And especially when it comes down to racism and how quickly we're able to see events that take place all across the country.
Yeah, now everyone has HD cameras pretty much in their pockets.
Yeah.
And can record a lot of stuff that possibly wasn't recorded in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So that might help us get a better picture of racial just progress in general.
So do you think, has there been any progress, or is it now just more visible? Because think about it, 60, 70 years ago, we didn't have the technology to be able to see things that quickly. And so are we seeing more of it now, or is this just what's always been there?
Yeah, could someone grab that Post-it note, the racial progress one? I think put it on the board so we can get it next to our confidence scale. Thank you. Has racism gotten worse in the past 50 years? That's the question. If I had to put my confidence, I would be there right now, but could be wrong about that. That's my current feelings, just pure confidence about it. And I think I could give reasons for that, but I'm open to hearing what your reasons are as well. What's your confidence about it?
Has racism gotten worse? I would say I don't believe it's gotten worse. I think it's just has a greater light than, and again, going back to technology and how our society has evolved, I think now we're able to kind of see things that were already there previously, and there's a microscope on that. And so my confidence would, I think it'd be a little over here.
That's towards yes, it has.
All right, then we're gonna.
And that's towards no.
Where you know what, it's gotten worse. Yeah,
It has
it's
gotten
gotten
worse?
worse. Especially, I said I'm from Chicago. There's it's one of the most segregated cities in the world. And not only that, there's a lot of racial profiling. I was just telling my boyfriend the other day, actually, a thing that I like to do. So if you look at me, I'm a white woman, right? But I'm a Bosnian refugee, and so I'm not originally from the United States.
Bosnian refugee?
Yes. And so something that I like to do is I will pull over when I see police officers pull over black and brown kids, because I've noticed that when they see a white woman watching them, the situation doesn't escalate
Oh,
as
wow.
much as it would if somebody wasn't watching them. And so I was telling my friend that, I'm late to things, and I don't apologize for it anymore, because I'm late, because I feel like I have this duty, and I feel like I have this privilege, and I can use it for something. And if I can help someone, why not? Why not be 5-10 minutes late? So I would say that it has gotten worse, and I think that it's up to us to pay more attention and to use what we have to try and kind of ease that tension.
Gotcha. That's very interesting. You pull over when you see black people being pulled
Black and
over
brown
by
people, yep.
black and brown people pulled over by the
Yes,
police
especially if they're pulled over by white police. Yes.
because you figure they're in some type of danger from being like shot by the police,
I mean, not necessarily shot, but I know
or
that
harassed, or
harassed. I, have friends who have been in situations with police that those situations have escalated, and it's because I think there's these preconceived notions about black and brown people, or black and brown kids, or urban kids in general, and I feel like I could almost be some type of safety net for them. And there's been situations where I've had to text my boyfriend and say, "Hey, I might get arrested right now, just so you
oh, wow,
know."
wow.
And he's calling me like, "What?" And I'm like, because police officers will come up to my car and say, "Is there a problem, ma'am? Like, can we help you with anything?" And I'll say, "No, no, no problem. I'm just making sure that everything is okay." I have to
Do you record?
I
whenever-
don't record.
Okay.
Thankfully, it hasn't gotten to a point where I've had to record. But I feel like if I was put in that situation, I would undoubtedly record and have to garner up the courage to be able to do that.
Okay.
But they have walked up to me and said, "What am I doing?" So I have to kind of make sure I'm abiding by the law. I'm not, double parked. I'm not giving them anything that they could use against me for, trying to just kind of
Okay.
be a watchmaker.
So we're at different conferences right now. How could we figure out where the actual confidence should be if we like knew everything? What's some good ways to figure out this question?
What's some good ways to figure out, has racism gotten worse in the past 50 years? Um, I mean, if you turn on the news, you'd say that it has gotten worse. I think it's more sensationalized more than ever now. But again, that it all goes back to the news that we consume, and the technology, and that instance of that viralness, especially of situations where one would think, like, have we not evolved from that racially?
Hypothetically, you're talking. It's really you're when you pull over. It's really about police accountability.
Yeah.
And one way of doing that is having like police chest cams installed. Like all police officers have cameras on, recording all the time.
Yes.
If we did that like next year, passed a law, all police now wear cameras, and then like 5 years later, a bunch of people did studies, and they found out some stuff from those studies. What could they find out to shift your confidence using that methodology?
Maybe they would find out that police would adhere more caution, but I don't necessarily think that that's the root of it. Because there's been laws passed where bystanders are not allowed to now record police, or they can get their phones confiscated if they do. So it's creating this tension of that police shouldn't be policed. And I know, specifically in Chicago, there is, it's a known kind of fact that there is this blue code honor system where it doesn't matter if if a police officer doesn't agree with the action of another police officer, you don't step out of those boundaries of we are brothers in blue.
Brothers in blue.
Yeah, yeah. And so I think that's where the root of it is. I don't think these cameras are the answer, because we're recording folks who have been on the job for 10, 15, 20 years who are training the newbies who are coming in. And it's kind of just recycling that same that same ideology. And so recording it doesn't, I mean, we've seen in the national news situations that have gotten recorded that haven't gone anywhere, that, haven't resulted in any positive results for the victim at all. So I don't think that recording, I don't think that can change that.
Yeah, like
I think it's systematic.
Could you ask me about what I would consider?
Yeah, what would you consider?
And I'd love to get your opinion on what I think. I guess I would ideally like to have data on the interactions that police have with every person. Does every interaction police has, is it lethal? Is it positive or negative or neutral? Like if every interaction involved like someone getting shot, that would be a bad interaction. But if like every police interaction was them saving a life or something from like a criminal, or every police interaction was just positive in that way, that would seem to be positive for police. So if there was some way to get that data, or like proxies for that data, that would shift my confidence. If it was like 90% positive interactions and the 10% we see on the news and on social media was like that, then it's like, what should I think about police? And that's related to racism in some way. That's a little bit separate, but that's what I would think about. That's one way I would try to figure that out. Opinions on that?
That makes great sense. Tell me, what do you think about that information being withheld? Like that
Withheld?
You couldn't even obtain that, yeah. I asked because there's certain instances, again, I gotta talk about Chicago. There was a famous incident last couple of years. Laquan McDonald was shot by police, and they wouldn't release the dash cam footage. And it's tough. How do you approach that, with knowing that you wanna see how the interactions go, but if the interactions are not being released, obviously that's for a reason, right?
Yeah, what good reasons would the police have for keeping video evidence out of the public eye? I could think of some reasons, hypothetically, like privacy for just other individuals, but it's a public issue, the police actions and accountability. So I think that would outweigh that reason, but I don't know. Not sure about that. Ideally, I would like more police accountability, but I don't know what the trade-offs for body cameras would be. I don't know too much about it. I'm not an expert about that.
Yeah. Well, neither am I.
Neither am I.
That's why we have to do our civic duty and do what we can when we can, and sometimes that means when you're in a city like Chicago and you see black and brown kids getting pulled over, you pull over and you make sure that they're okay, because it could take a second to 5 seconds for that situation to escalate, and you could be the one that makes sure that they get home. Yeah, the witness.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, that's very commendable. Sweet. And Ermina, I try to be here every Saturdays. Any other questions for me?
No, I have so many questions. I don't know where to start. How do you come up with the questions? Do you just let folks speak what's on their mind, or?
Besides that book, A Manual for Creating Atheists, there's a new book that came out last September, called How to Have Impossible Conversations. So that's like a big part of it now, but it's also just seeing what works. We've been practicing this for the past 6 years, and we've got a kind of a template, and it's been really working pretty well so far. So if you search street epistemology on YouTube, you'll find tons of examples. And that's my card there. You'll find a link to my YouTube channel.
What's a topic that you haven't discussed yet?
What's a topic I haven't discussed yet? Tons of topics. Like patriarchy and stuff like that. What else? Yeah, more into that type of thing, like gender critical feminism, stuff like that. Those are interesting that I want to talk about.
Well, those are all very important topics, and thank you for doing this work.
Sure
It's
thing. Feel free to take
important.
a color gear as a gift. And if you see me again, you can come back and get another color.
Thank you. Hopefully, I'll get a whole series and I'll put it together.
Right, amazing. That's awesome.
Very nice to meet you, Reed. Thank
Nice
you
meet-
so much.
Nice to meet you. That was great.
Very nice to meet you. Thank
Nice
you.
meeting you. See you. Hey, thanks.
Hi, Reed.
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Pretty good, thanks.
Good, good.
Let's do it.
Want to do another one?
Can we take a break?
No, I'm good.